Feel good news. Our first story began in 1997 when newborn Stuart Rembert was abducted from the hospital by a woman impersonating as a nurse. He was found 19 hours later in a box next to a restaurant dumpster in Tacoma, Washington, by Sowers, who was a rookie FBI agent in his first few months on the job. Special Agent Troy Sowers is now retiring after 22 years of service.
First up, everyone, a moment to recognize decades of service by a local FBI special agent.
Yeah, it also brings an opportunity for a reunion going back more than 20 years to an encounter that changed a life. WAT 6 on your side reporter Gabriella Pagan joining us now here in the studio.
Yeah, Gabby, tell us about the connection between the agent and this Marine.
This is incredibly special, you guys. They met just once before when the Marine was only an infant kidnapped from a hospital. But Corporal Stuart Rembert and FBI Special Agent Troy Sowers last met in '97 during that traumatic time. But today, you guys, it was all about celebrating.
For me, it was all brand new, but this is the stories you hear about the FBI, that we're going out there working kidnapping cases and trying to find the kidnapped person, the victim. So I was very excited about being part of it.
Agent Sowers was a young agent, barely 2 months in the field, when he was working the lead on that kidnapping, interviewing someone who had been pulled over, deciding to take a look at the suspect's house.
She still had not confessed to kidnapping the baby. In her house, we found some indications that maybe she was part of the kidnapping. We went and talked to her 13-year-old stepdaughter. The 13-year-old stepdaughter immediately started crying and said that she didn't know where the baby was at.
Now knowing they had the right person, Sowers hopped in a police car to be taken to where the kidnapped baby was being held.
It's interesting, over my 22-year career, when people ask me highlights of my career, I would always mention this, that I pulled a baby out of a box, but never really focused on it because it was just one of the things that we do.
Until it came time for retirement, and Sowers' daughters began looking for that baby from the box, who is now a corporal with the United States Marine Corps.
I did not know it at all. I wanted something very simple. I asked for coffee and donuts.
So we thought this would be a pretty special end to your career, for you to hear a little bit about him and for you to actually see a picture of him. But oh, by the way, he's actually here to thank you today. So Troy Sowers, I would like to introduce you to Corporal Stuart Rembert.
Very stoic. Like, I thought he was going to cry, but he kept it in there. Just a big old thank you for everything that he's done. And without him, I wouldn't be where I am today, a United States Marine.
Agent Sowers kind of chuckled at that stoic comment, saying it's true, but that he did have to take a deep breath. You could really tell this was impactful for him. Corporal Rembert says this was a good closing to his retirement, to know that he's okay and that he has done well with his life, you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Gabriella, thank you. You know, Rembert says a woman impersonating a nurse kidnapped him that night 22 years ago. After learning how his exciting start to life began, he says he put it behind him.
Now, Rembert grew up in Washington and joined the Marine Corps 3 years ago. When he gets out, he hopes to attend Arizona State University.
And next, we have a Spanish endurance athlete, Antonio de la Rosa, who reportedly became the first person to stand up paddleboard across the Pacific Ocean after he paddled his way to Hawaii from California.
Hello, my friends. I am Antonio de la Rosa from Spain, and I now cross Ocean Pacific on this stand-up paddle boat from San Francisco, California to Hawaii. I hope to be in Hawaii about 2022 August. See you in Hawaii, my friends. Bye-bye.
He's become the first person to stand up paddleboard across the Pacific Ocean. The Spanish endurance athlete made his way from San Francisco all the way to Waikiki. Sarah Madison spoke to the paddleboarder about his incredible journey. Sarah.
That's right, Sam. 76 days, 5 hours, and 22 minutes. That's how long it took him to cross nearly 3,000 miles of ocean. Antonio de la Rosa says not once has he ever thought about giving up. On his custom-designed 24-foot-long stand-up paddleboard, Antonio de la Rosa touched the shores of Oahu with a huge sense of accomplishment. He traversed about 2,900 miles from San Francisco Bay in hopes to raise awareness of the need to protect the ocean from man-made pollution. Extreme expeditions are nothing new to the Spanish endurance athlete. He's rowed his way across the Atlantic Ocean back in 2014.
And I think I need a Pacific to have Atlantic and Pacific. And from 7 or 8 years ago, I love the stand-up paddle. This is my favorite sport now. And I think, okay, I'm going to do Pacific.
De La Rosa tells us the hardest part of the journey was getting through coastal waters.
The currents and the wind is hard, and it's so difficult out of the coast. And I have 10 days with problems, very close to the coast.
After 76 days, De La Rosa claims he's the first person to stand up paddle across the Pacific Ocean. And he's also become an inspiration.
I think Antonio is a very special guy. He has a strong mind and a strong head. And then he's a good sportman. But about the expedition is regular for him.
What's next? What's your next?
I'm not sure. I haven't nothing exactly on my head. But probably next year I'm going to do a mountain bike expedition with my girlfriend or weekend expedition.
In our next story, a police officer in Iowa is being hailed for helping reassure a young boy that he has nothing to fear in his new bedroom.
New at 10, a 6-year-old in Eldridge said he couldn't fall asleep at night because he was scared of bad guys in his room. So a police officer became his hero and made sure he felt safe.
TV6's Angela Rose is here now. She visited the home and the boy showed her where he used to think those bad guys were hiding, Angela.
Sharon and David, Hayden just moved into his new home, and this is his first time having his own room. He was nervous about it and told his mom he wanted a police officer to come check it out.
I was scared and I didn't know what to do either.
Hayden's mom and sister were telling him goodnight when they say Hayden's attic door randomly opened.
He started to get some bad thoughts. He has accidentally seen some trailers with some movies I won't name since he's sitting here. But he kind of started to just imagine that they were in his bedroom.
Hayden's mom thinks it happened due to the way the air circulates in the home or other doors being shut. But that was not a good enough explanation for Hayden. This is the first time he has his own room, and so he wanted police to come by and check it out, despite his mom's efforts in consoling him and trying to convince him the house is safe.
I kind of maybe thought for a little bit that I was going to inconvenience an officer because obviously their job is demanding, and I didn't know if they would think it was silly.
But in order to convince Hayden that he was safe, he and his mom went to the Eldridge police station where Hayden told an officer he was having trouble sleeping at night.
They asked if I'd come over and check the house out, and so I said sure. So I just went and looked around the house a little bit.
Thankfully, Officer Schwartz did not find anything scary Hayden should be worried about. Hayden says he's been happy and able to sleep at night ever since Officer Schwartz gave him a tip to dream about being a cowboy.
He always thinks dreaming about being a cowboy.
So I heard that did you try that?
And I've fallen asleep.
Not only does Hayden feel safe enough to sleep, but loves playing in the attic.
I'm definitely not special. Any one of our officers would have done the exact same thing. You know, we do this job for that reason, just help people.
Officer Schwartz also met Hayden on his first day of school to check on him and make sure he was feeling better.
It was a good day on the first day of school. On the second day, today, it was good too. And I bet tomorrow is going to be a good day.
And our last story is about the wonderful Coast Guard who rescued 2 people from Lake Michigan after being in the water for 7 hours.
Now, to this heart-stopping rescue miles from the lake, miles from the shoreline.
This couple being pulled up in baskets swam for 7 hours, thinking of only one thing, their 3 young children. CBS 2's Megan Hickey is live in Waukegan with an incredible survivor story. Megan.
Brad and Erica, we just showed Kathleen and Michael Root the video from the U.S. Coast Guard. They are overwhelmed and so grateful to all the people who came to their rescue.
Didn't know how bad it was until we got, onto land, and everyone was telling us, the horror stories of the lake and how people don't really survive what we encountered.
This was the moment that Kathleen and Michael Root were praying for. They were rescued after being stranded in the water for about 7 hours, 3 miles offshore of Lake Forest Park Beach. The Great Lakes couple were out for a ride on their Yamaha watercraft when they hit a stretch of waves and were thrown into the water. The waves carried the Yamaha far away from them as they began swimming in their life jackets towards shore. Eventually, the Yamaha was recovered and towed back to the marina. That's when a boat captain saw their wallets and cell phones that had been stashed inside the craft. He called the Coast Guard, and soon an MH-60 helicopter air crew from Air Station Traverse City came to the rescue. The couple tells me all they could think of were their 3 kids waiting back home.
My wife, she was crying with tears of joy. She was definitely relieved. I think it was, she knew it was over, and she was able to go home and then relax and,
just a surreal moment.
We also spoke with the captain who made that call to the Coast Guard. Kathleen and Michael credit him for helping to save their lives. He said the rescue was nothing short of miraculous.
I'm struck initially by the timing of it. I feel divine intervention was involved.
The couple wanted to thank the Coast Guard, Navy, and anyone else who helped in that rescue. They're sunburned and sore, but grateful to have made it out of the water safely. Live in Waukegan, Megan Hickey, CBS 2 News.
Wow, Megan, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to end this here, and I will hopefully have another video in the next day or 2, and with some more feel-good news. Again, like, subscribe, let me know if there's anything in particular that you would like me to talk about, and I will happily do so. Thank you.